Good evening and welcome to the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office's Black History Month celebration. My name is Jay Dow. I'm a correspondent with WPIX-TV. It's an honor to be here as your Master of Ceremonies this year. No matter what we look like, no matter where our families are from, we should be celebrating our heritage and our background all 12 months of the year. But every February, we as a nation take the time to honor the contributions and achievements and acknowledge the central role that African Americans have played in this country for more than 400 years. And this month's celebration are all deeply significant to the African American community, here and beyond. Why? Because history has been and always will be our greatest teacher. I'm talking about the lessons of African American history, born from the sacrifice of those who were brought here against their will in transatlantic ships, those whose families were systematically broken up upon their arrival to America's shores, those who were forced to pick cotton under the southern sun until their hands were raw, and eventually those who marched and protested for equality. All of these lessons, African American history, spanning centuries, are essential to the greater understanding of national and world history. These lessons are also essential and relevant today for the latest wave of immigrant, Muslim, LGBT, you name it, the list goes on, those who are now on the front line of the fight for equality today. In short, it is indeed wise and prudent for all of us to celebrate and learn from African American history. As we remember those who came before us, I would be remiss if I did not mention the late, great Brooklyn DA, Kenneth Thompson. In his honor, let us share in a moment of silence for D.A. Thompson. As we all know, up until his untimely passing, he was the epitome of an honorable man who demonstrated a commitment to justice and a persistent desire to offer protection for all, regardless of race.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Gonzalez, and I am so honored that all of you have chosen to come out tonight to join us here for Black History Month. In particular, we're celebrating the history, the culture, and the future of African Americans in our country and in the city of Brooklyn. Pastor, thank you so much for loaning us your home and for us to be able to celebrate here. Ms. Akers, thank you for being supportive for all the years. Inspector Henderson, and to all the dignitaries that are here, I really appreciate you coming out tonight. Our program tonight is a reflection of African American culture. This theme seems even more important at this particular time in our history. We see places like Texas where conservatives are erasing African American history and accomplishments from our school curriculum. The many accomplishments of Black and brown people of our country have been minimized, if bothered to be taught at all. Even the impetus of the Civil War is now being taught as a simple conflict about states' rights and about simple economics. Barely any mention in many parts of the country on the role of slavery cited as a cause for the Civil War. It's important that we teach our children that the history of African American culture did not start with slavery. Right? It started with the great civilizations in Africa, and for some reason, I grew up in this city, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I learned all about Greek and Roman history, but I never learned about African history. I did not learn about the history of my family's from Puerto Rico. I did not learn about the history of slavery and how that impacted the Caribbean and Taino Indians And so these are the things that we need to teach our young.
I'm now going to introduce our keynote speaker, Lurie Daniel Favors. She's going to give some remarks. Mrs. Favors serves as General Counsel for the Center for Law and Justice. She is vividly involved as an activist and attorney for racial and social justice issues. With a long-standing career in the nonprofit sector, Mrs. Favors has established herself as a champion for the empowerment of racially disenfranchised communities. She adheres to the West African principle of Sankofa, and I'm sure she'll tell me whether I'm pronouncing that correctly, and believes one must use the past in order to understand the present and build for a brighter future.
The Sankofa symbol is a symbol out of the Adingra symbology system in West Africa. And the symbol is depicted as a bird that's walking in one direction, but its head is looking back at the direction from which it came. And the bird holds in its mouth an egg, and that egg is designed to symbolize the bird's origins, its history, what makes the bird be, right? And as it was explained to me, the principle of Sankofa means we cannot understand where we are today. We can't even dream free enough to imagine what tomorrow could look like if we don't understand the past that brought us to where we are, all right? So that's the first principle that I go to. The second one is the famous quote that many of us know as attorney. If you're an attorney who has been interested in civil rights for any length of time, you are familiar with Charles Hamilton Houston. And one of the most famous quotes that he said was that a lawyer is either a social engineer or a parasite on society. Not my words. Either a social engineer or a parasite. And he defines a social engineer as someone who is highly skilled, someone who is perceptive, a sensitive lawyer who understands the Constitution of the United States and knows how to explore its uses in solving the problems of local communities and in bettering conditions of underprivileged citizens. It's my second principle. And the third, again, the words of the Honorable Thurgood Marshall, who said that we must do what is right and let the law catch up. And those principles are important to me because we're all historical products. And what I mean by that is who we are today is largely the result of the choices, the decisions, the policies, and the opportunities that were made to people in the past and made by people in the past. The sacrifices that were made in the past are what allows many of us to be in this space today. It's important that we acknowledge this, at least in my perspective, because never, at least in my brief lifetime, never has the past been as relevant to what's happening today as it is right now. When we think about the way our world has shifted a bit, right, just a bit, when we think about the way that we are now dealing with things that we thought we had outgrown, with policies and belief systems that we thought we were inching away from, we are now clear that we have to be very up to speed on how the past happened, what happened in the past, and how that relates to what's happening now. Our role is to connect the history of white supremacy, the narrative of this nation, to the current legal battles against racial inequality and racism. And because, as Neely Fuller Jr. reminds us, when we don't understand white supremacy, what it is, how it operates, how it impacts the laws, how it shapes the way we think, how it shapes the arguments that we make, how it shapes the literal strategies that we pursue, when we don't understand that, everything that we think we do understand will only leave us confused.
I've got to keep pushing. I've got to keep pushing, Lord. We've got to keep pushing, pushing, Lord. We've pushed oh so hard from where we've been, but we've got to keep pushing. We've got to keep pushing. We've got to keep